I never imagined that I, someone who always dreamed of being a wife, a mother, a woman with a peaceful home, would end up hiding something this huge from the man I love. But here I am, 18 weeks pregnant, and my husband has no idea. And the worst part, I'm not even sure I feel guilty. I'm 25 years old, and I've been married to my husband, Joel, for 3 years. We met in college where everything felt simple, sweet, easy, like love should be. He made me feel safe. He made me feel chosen. He made me feel like I could build a life with him forever. And for a long time, I believed that. We both grew up wanting the same dream. A big family, a warm home, kids running through the halls, chaos and laughter everywhere. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Joel loved that idea. It felt like the perfect partnership. But even in those early days, there was something I ignored, brushed aside, called quirky. His mother, Amy. I didn't understand it fully at first. I thought she was just close to her son. Lots of families are. But over time, it became clear that Amy wasn't close. She was attached. She called him baby boy. Not sweetie. Not Joel. Not honey. Just baby boy. At first, I thought it was weird but harmless. But then it was our wedding day. I was in my dress, nervous, excited, ready to walk into a new life. And Amy demanded, the first dance with her son. She said it was tradition. It was. It was never a tradition. She just wanted him all to herself. And since she paid for most of the wedding, I let it go. That was my first mistake. Then she asked if she could wear a cream-colored dress, close enough to white that people would whisper. That was the first time I told her no, and she didn't take it well. Amy lives in our neighborhood, not down the street. Not around the corner. Right there. Close enough to walk over in slippers. And she does. Unannounced. Constantly. She'll let herself in, ask why I'm always resting, criticize how I fold towels, rearrange my kitchen, comment on the state of my marriage. She inserts herself into every corner of our life like she belongs there. And Joel, he always says, she means well. She's just trying to be helpful. She's my mom. I pushed through. I pretended it didn't bother me. Because I loved him. Because I wanted a family. Because sometimes love makes us blind to the red flags waving right in our faces. Then I got pregnant. That was the happiest moment of my life. I cried, Joel cried. Everything felt perfect. And then we told Amy. Her reaction was overwhelming. She shoved past me to hug Joel. She cried louder than both of us combined. She insisted on coming to every appointment, every ultrasound, every heartbeat check, every conversation with the doctor. And the worst moment, the moment that changed everything for me. The first time we heard the heartbeat. I lay there on the exam table, nervous, emotional, vulnerable. The sound filled the room, tiny, fast, beautiful. Before I could even react, Amy shot up from her chair, ran to Joel, grabbed his hands, and sobbed hysterically. Joel hugged her, pointed at the screen. "Oh my God, Mom, that's your grandbaby." I sat there alone. The mother. The patient. The woman whose body was creating this life. And I felt invisible. Amy wanted a grand baby shower at her house. She wanted the nursery at her house. She wanted to keep the baby for weekends. She pushed me out of every moment. When I felt the first flutter, she nearly shoved me aside so she could feel it too. I tried to tell Joel, but he always said the same thing. She's excited. She'll calm down. She doesn't mean anything by it. Then I lost the baby. The world blurred. Everything felt numb. I was empty, physically, emotionally, completely. Joel and I went to the hospital. But the moment he called his mother, everything changed. Amy showed up, crying so loudly nurses asked her to stop. She said things like, "That was my grandbaby." I can't believe this happened to me. Her grief took up the room. Her sobs drowned out my pain. Her drama overshadowed my loss. And Joel, he escorted her out. He stayed with her to calm her down. I lay there alone, bleeding, hurting, empty, and left by the man who promised to love and protect me. That moment fractured something inside my heart, something I wasn't sure could be repaired. Joel apologized. He cried. He said he panicked. He said he made a mistake. But forgiveness doesn't come easy when you've tasted abandonment. I started sleeping in the guest room, taking time for myself, trying to figure out whether I could trust him again, whether I could ever be pregnant again without fear. Months passed, and then at a friend's wedding, I had too much wine. Joel and I went home. We slept together for the first time in a long time. And a few weeks later, I felt it. That familiar shift in my body. The weight. The tenderness. The exhaustion. I took a test. Positive. My heart pounded so loudly, I could hear it echoing in my chest. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell Joel. But all I could think about was Amy. Her interruptions. Her entitlement. Her grief that overshadowed my own. I couldn't do it. Not again. So I hid it. I didn't plan to hide it for long. I told myself, just a few days, let me breathe, let me settle, let me enjoy this quietly before everything changes. But days became weeks, and weeks became months. I booked my first ultrasound appointment alone. I sat in the waiting room, surrounded by couples, husbands holding their wives' hands, partners rubbing their backs, people whispering to their unborn bobbies. And I sat there alone. But for the first time, I felt a strange sense of peace. No one was hovering. No one was grabbing my hand. No one was crying louder than me. No one was trying to take my moment. When the doctor showed me the tiny flicker on the screen, the heartbeat, I burst into tears. Quiet tears. Soft tears. My tears. Not overshadowed. Not drowned out. Not stolen. It was just me. And my baby. After the appointment, I walked out into the sunlight, hand on my stomach, heart trembling. And I realized, I didn't want to give this moment away. Not yet. So I kept it to myself. Just for a little longer. By 8 weeks, I had developed a system. Oversized hoodies. Loose sweatpants. Robes tied a little higher. Long blankets when we watched movies. If Joel came into a room unexpectedly, I pushed a pillow over my stomach or pretended to curl up. I felt guilty. Of course I did. But the relief, the silence, the control, was intoxicating. Every morning, I woke up and whispered, just one more day to keep this between us. I made my own prenatal appointments, bought my own vitamins, researched every symptom by myself. For the first time, my pregnancy felt like it belonged to me. And I loved it. Around 14 weeks, I felt it. A tiny flutter, like a soft brush of wings. My breath caught. I froze. One hand on my stomach, the other covering my mouth. I waited for the second flutter. And it came soft, delicate, magical. My baby. My baby moved. Alone in my bedroom, I sobbed. Not sad tears. Not fearful tears. Just pure raw joy. Nobody burst into the room. Nobody rushed over to feel before I could process it. Nobody grabbed Joel's hands and stole the moment. It was mine. Just mine. That night, as Joel slept next to me on the couch during a movie, I felt another flutter, and I didn't wake him. Not because I didn't love him, but because in that moment, I wasn't ready to share. I wasn't ready for Amy to know. I wasn't ready to lose control. Every milestone I experienced without her felt healing. Like I was reclaiming something that had been taken from me the first time. At 17 weeks, my doctor scheduled the anatomy scan, the one where I'd learn the gender. Joel didn't know I had any appointments. He didn't know anything. And I should have felt guilty. But I didn't. Instead, I felt terrified. Because as the pregnancy progressed, the secret grew harder to keep. My stomach rounded. My cravings increased. The exhaustion hit harder. I wore the same oversized hoodie 3 days in a row. And Joel started to notice. One night, he looked at me across the kitchen table and said, "Are you okay? You've seemed tired." My heart nearly stopped. I smiled. Lied. Said work had been stressful. He accepted it. But for the first time, I felt the fear. The clock was ticking. The secret had an expiration date. Despite the growing anxiety, these months were the most peaceful I had ever experienced. For the first time, my home didn't feel invaded. Amy didn't pop in as often. She was busy with her church group, planning events, baking, whatever she does to fill the hours she normally spends obsessing over Joel. Joel and I slowly started healing too. We talked more, cooked together, watched movies, held hands. Sometimes lying next to him at night, I wanted to whisper, "I'm pregnant," but the words stuck in my throat. Because I knew what would happen next. Amy would find out. Appointments. Crying. Intrusion. Control. My moment would become her moment. And if something went wrong, I wouldn't survive consoling her again. So I stayed silent. The closest call happened at 17 weeks. I woke up nauseous, violently nauseous, and barely made it to the bathroom. Joel rushed in after me, rubbing my back, concerned. "You're really sick," he whispered. "Do you need urgent care? Should I call my mom?" I nearly threw up again. "No," I snapped too quickly. He blinked, surprised. I forced a smile. Said it was probably bad takeout. He stayed with me for hours. Brought me ginger ale. Held my hair back. It was the most tender he had been since the miscarriage. And yet, even as I leaned against him, I kept my arms crossed over my stomach, separating us. Protecting it. Protecting me. Protecting the moment I didn't want to lose. Now I'm 18 weeks. My appointment is in a few days. And I'm terrified. Not of the results. Not of the baby. But of the truth. Of the moment Joel finds out I've been hiding this from him. That I've kept his child a secret for months. That I've smiled in front of him, slept beside him, ate dinner with him while carrying his baby. How do I explain that the reason I hid it was his mother? How do I tell him I didn't want her hands on my stomach? Her voice dominating every appointment. Her crying louder than me. Her grief overshadowing my fear. How do I tell him that I wanted, just once, to experience pregnancy as the mother, not as an inconvenience next to his mother's excitement? I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go from here. But the truth is coming. Whether I'm ready or not. I always knew secrets had a way of catching up to you. I just didn't expect mine to unravel the way it did. 18 weeks of hiding. 18 weeks of oversized clothes. 18 weeks of quiet joy, quiet fear, quiet hope. And then, one moment shattered all of it. It happened on a Sunday morning. I woke up to the smell of pancakes. Joel was in the kitchen humming, flipping batter on the stove. He always does that when he's in a good mood. He hums without realizing it. Normally, I loved that sound. But that morning, something felt off in my body. A pressure. A heaviness. Not quite pain, but not normal either. I placed my hand on my belly, trying to stay calm. Then I heard a soft knock on the front door. My blood ran cold. There was only one person who knocked like that. Amy. Joel frowned as he turned toward the hallway. That's strange. She usually calls first. No. She didn't. She never did. But I didn't correct him. I froze, tugging my sweatshirt lower over my stomach. The door opened. Baby boy. Amy's voice filled the house like thick perfume. And that was it. My calm vanished. She swept in with grocery bags, chattering about some casserole she wanted us to try. She hugged Joel. She kissed his cheek. She finally turned toward me. And she stopped. Her eyes dropped to my stomach, to the way I held my hand there, to the faint curve no hoodie could hide anymore. It was like watching a bomb detonate in slow motion. Her eyes widened. Her breath hitched. Her hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God, she whispered. Is she, Joel? My heart dropped into my stomach. Joel looked between us, confused. Then he stared directly at me. And everything inside me collapsed. Joel stepped toward me slowly. Are you pregnant? His voice cracked on the word. I couldn't breathe. Amy gasped like someone had stabbed her. She clutched Joel's arm. Baby boy, why didn't you tell me? When did this happen? How far along is she? Why does she look so big already? That was when I snapped. Stop. The word echoed through the living room. Joel flinched. Amy froze, offended. I felt my throat tighten, my heartbeat pounding through my ears. Yes, I said quietly. I'm pregnant. Joel stared at me, as if the world had tilted sideways. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered. Amy pushed forward, her voice shrill. How could you hide something like this? From me, from Joel, what kind of? Stop talking, I shouted again. Joel turned to her. Mom, please, just give us a minute. Amy looked horrified. Offended. Almost betrayed. She stormed into the kitchen, hovering, eavesdropping without shame. Joel turned back to me. His voice was soft. Broken. Scared. How far along? I swallowed. 18 weeks. His eyes filled with tears instantly. 18, he shook his head. 18, you've been pregnant since the wedding, since. His voice trailed. His hands were trembling. You didn't trust me, he whispered. I felt something inside me break open. No, I said quietly. I didn't trust your mother. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Sharp enough to cut skin. Joel blinked, stunned. My mother. He looked genuinely confused. I laughed, a bitter, exhausted sound. How could I trust her, Joel? The first time we were pregnant, she took every moment from me, every appointment, every milestone, every emotion. She pushed me aside. She made the entire pregnancy about herself. Amy scoffed loudly from the kitchen. I ignored her. And when I lost the baby, my voice cracked. You left me to console her. I was alone in a hospital bed while you comforted your mother. Joel didn't speak. Maybe he couldn't. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I couldn't let that happen again. I couldn't handle losing another baby while watching her cry louder than me. I couldn't handle being pushed aside. I couldn't survive another pregnancy where I'm not the mother, where I'm just the vessel while she takes center stage. Amy burst forward at that. That is not true. I was grieving too. That was my grandbaby. Your grief, I snapped. Your grief overshadowed mine. Amy's mouth fell open. Joel finally spoke, his voice rough. Mom, she's right. Amy froze. Absolute disbelief on her face. What? You made everything about you. That day at the hospital, I wasn't there for my wife. I was comforting you. Amy's face twisted with hurt. I'm your mother. I needed you. Joel shook his head. She needed me more. For the first time, Amy had no words. Joel turned back to me. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered. That was the question that hurt the most. Because I loved him. Because I trusted him. But I didn't trust what he would allow his mother to do. I wanted to feel my baby kick without fighting for space. I wanted to hear the heartbeat without someone grabbing Joel's hands before I could reach for him. I wanted the gender scan to be my moment, not a performance for your mother. Amy gasped. I deserve to be included. I stared at her. No, you don't. Joel closed his eyes. Amy's voice rose, high and hysterical. How dare you? Mom, stop, Joel shouted. The house fell silent. He ran a hand through his hair. This is my fault, he whispered. I should have protected you. I should have set boundaries. I should have seen what was happening. I swallowed hard. Maybe, I whispered. But right now, I need to know whether you're ready to be a father without your mother living through us. Joel looked terrified. Not angry. Not betrayed. Just terrified. Of course I'm ready, he said. But I need to be part of this. I want to go to appointments. I want to feel the baby. I want to be there. I nodded slowly. And I want that too, but it has to be us, not us and your mother. Amy stepped forward again. But Joel turned to her with a firmness I had never seen before. Mom, this isn't your baby. Her face paled. Joel continued. You won't come to appointments unless we invite you. You won't show up unannounced. You won't touch her stomach without asking. You won't make this about you, not again. Amy stared at him like he had slapped her. You're choosing her over me, she whispered. Joel didn't hesitate. She's my wife. Tears streamed down Amy's face. She grabbed her purse, stormed toward the door, and slammed it behind her. And suddenly, the house was quiet again. Joel walked toward me slowly. Can you forgive me? He whispered. Can we fix this? I took a long, shaky breath. I don't know, I admitted, but I want to try for our baby. He reached for my hand. This time, I let him. He placed his palm gently on my stomach, the first time he had ever touched this pregnancy. And the baby moved. Just the smallest flutter. Joel gasped, tears spilling instantly. That's my baby, he whispered. I nodded, crying too. Yes, I said softly, our baby. He held me and sobbed. Not like last time. Not with guilt. Not with confusion. But with love. Real love. The kind that chooses. The kind that grows. The kind that changes. And for the first time, I felt like this might work. But only if he can stand firm. Only if he can keep boundaries. Only if I can heal. Only if we can move forward as a family of 3. Not 4. Not anymore. So now I ask you, not as a wife, not as a victim, not as a villain, but as a woman who wants to be a mother without losing herself. Am I the asshole for hiding my pregnancy? Or was I saving myself? And my baby? From another heartbreak,